Welcome to the Empress Effect, where we are strengthened by virtue, guided by faith, and raised by grace. Get ready for wisdom, inspiration, and transformation. Now here's your host, Sheree Hallbrick.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Empress Effect. We have an amazing guest with us today. This woman is more than a counselor, more than a mother, more than a wife, more than a friend. She is all of those things wrapped up into this beautiful little package. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but her name is Majuana Mayo. Welcome.
Hi, Sheree. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. A little rushed today, but that's okay. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah. And those are the women that we're talking to, right?
That's right.
Folks that have stuff going on in their lives that it's, you've got to realize and remember how to completely blend every part of your life,
exactly.
Right? Whether you are maintaining your household, maintaining your business, maintaining your family, you've got to be able to blend it.
Got a lot of hats.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So can you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, like you said, my name is Majuana Mayo. I am a wife, a mother, a sister, a therapist. I have done it for the past 26 years, working in the field of mental health. I was blessed to be able to find a job 6 months after I graduated from undergrad college. 6 months later, I started my journey as a case manager, and today I'm now program director for Better View Counseling.
Yes.
Thanks to Tremaine Jones. He was my savior, I tell you, because my previous job I was at for 11 years, and I love what I did, but the company just was no longer serving me. So I had to go.
And that's a big part of the things that we do. We have to remember that whatever it is that we're doing, it has to serve us too.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. So with all of that, being a counselor, you're also very active as an alumnus for your college, correct?
Yes, I am. I have been on the engagement committee for Millersville University for probably the past 6 years, or 7 years.
Okay.
And in terms of that, we help with events, homecoming, welcoming the students on campus as new students, meet and greets and those type of things. And I recently was elected as a board of directors member on campus for Millersville as of July of last year.
Wow.
So I stay, pretty busy with that, up and back and forth down the highway.
Going back and forth.
I do that pretty frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, wow, I didn't even know that. Congratulations. That's amazing. And you're newly married. You guys just got married.
Yeah, we got married in 2021.
Right. Same year Charlie and I did. Absolutely. So how are you blending all of these wonderful things?
It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I have to admit, my husband does have to, he has to keep me grounded sometimes because I do a lot. I'm all over the place, and he will tell you that in a heartbeat. But over the years, I have learned to balance that and to learn how to say no. I have always been a people pleaser, has always been wanting to help others and so on and so forth. It's in my nature.
Sure.
I really don't know how to do anything else. However, it does create burnout. You have to be careful with how much of yourself you give.
Have you experienced burnout yourself?
Oh, yes, I have.
Really?
Yes, I have. So I'm going to tell you about one time I had.
Okay.
Now, it's never been this deep.
Okay.
Since that time, I was 27 years old.
Okay.
I was in my last couple weeks of getting my master's degree as a social worker. I was finishing up a job that I had been at for 7 years. The job I was at since I graduated from undergrad at Millersville, I was graduating from Temple University.
Okay.
Couple days left before I was graduating. I had my company, all the background of my company, it was like family.
Okay.
I loved them. They loved me. I grew up there. I was 23 when I started, almost 30 when I finished.
Loyalty.
I had clients that I worked with. The child was still in the womb. And now that I'm leaving this company, the child is now going to first or second grade. Oh. So they were my family.
Right.
So as I was leaving and saying goodbye to my last couple clients, I started to feel this pain like in my chest. And I'm like, what is that? it was getting like tighter and tighter. Couldn't figure out what it was.
Wow.
Next thing you know, I'm in the hospital.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I thought I was having a heart attack. Yes.
Wow.
It was the scariest thing ever.
When burnout becomes a physical incapacity kind of thing, you're right. It feels like a whole heart attack. Like you are, and what's happening to my body? Like, why is this happening to me right now? And then when they give you it was an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you're like, nah, I was dying right here. And you literally put so much on yourself that your body had to shut itself down.
Yes.
Wow.
I actually called my mother. I was, 27 years old. I still need my mom. Look, I'm almost 50. I still need my mom.
Word.
I called her and, she didn't know what was going on. I started to hyperventilate and so on and so forth. I wound up in the hospital. And it was so bad. Wow. I was on morphine.
Wow. Yeah. Man. So you know what? Praise God for healing power. Yes. Because the truth of it is we as women do exactly that. We put so many hats on ourselves, so many responsibilities, thinking that we need to be the one to take care, to fix everything. And then we're not even paying attention to the clues that our own body is giving us.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you made your way out of that.
Yes. And I never experienced that again.
Yes. Well, praise God. Yes. Praise God. Absolutely. My goodness. So now that you've been through that, how do you personally differentiate between anxiety and stress? Like, how do you know what it is?
The crazy thing is you really don't. They tie into each other. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Stress creates anxiety. Anxiety creates stress.
Wow.
It does.
Wow. I don't know that I ever really thought about it like that, but you're right.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Your stress will make you anxious. It will absolutely make you anxious. Now, you made mention of your age just a moment ago. You said, nearing, and we're just going to say we're nearing those numbers because we're not quite there yet, folks. We're not quite there yet. However, we are at an age now where our hormones come into play with all of those things. So are you more aware, do you think,
absolutely, about
your cortisol levels and things like that could possibly spike and all of that because of the stress and anxiety that you have in your life?
Oh, sure. And again, like I said, my mom's a nurse, so I'm very particular and familiar with some of the basic things that happen when you're stressed out.
Sure.
I have a blood pressure machine at home. Our age we can't stop our bodies from aging.
Right.
However, stress can increase those symptoms of getting older.
So when you're counseling your clients, so do you counsel more children or more adults, or
I have more?
A mix of both?
It's a mix. Right now I have about 50 clients and I have about 20 kids.
Okay.
And the other 30 are adults. But I've been working with the child population the most. But I do. It's really a specialty with mine to work with the entire family. Even though I do outpatient therapy.
Wow.
There's nothing that we're going to be able to, recover from with me just talking to the child. If I can't get the parents engaged, what am I doing this for?
Exactly. Our village, we're the same way. If the parents aren't going to be involved, we already know that we're going to have a way harder time with our students than we would if everybody was involved.
Right.
So what techniques do you give those families when they're in high stress or high anxiety type situations to either calm down the child, calm down the mom? I'm the mom. We're the mom in the situation. So what can we do so that we can be relaxed enough that we can calm our children down?
Well, it's number one, it's all about communication and listening. You know what I mean? Because today, one thing that I have discovered as a therapist, the children today, they're different. They're different.
Yeah.
We took on a lot when we were kids in terms of being independent and being more responsible. They're more sensitive to those things these days. And no matter how you raised them or who you were raising them, even my own children, how to, say the right thing and not feel like, you're guiding them into this whatever negative path that they've taken. Because at the end of the day, no matter how I'm doing the air quotes here. No matter how good of a parent you feel that you are, influence is out there.
Oh yeah.
And it's up to your child to make that decision on whether or not they're going to follow that influence, or they're going to hear your voice in their head, telling them to make the right choice. We have to, unfortunately, pull back from them and let them experience some of these things on their own.
That's the hardest part.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary.
That's so hard as a parent to just let them experience, especially when you see them going in a direction that you have already stumbled your way through.
Exactly.
You just you just want to grab them real quick and say, I did this. It doesn't work. But honestly, they look at you and they're like, well, just let me do it anyway.
Like,
and,
what are you talking about?
Right. And
Mom, it's not the same. It's different, and so on and so forth. And I get that now. And I tell my own daughter, absolutely, it is very different. But one thing I try to not be naive to is that despite the fact that I'm a therapist, I'm her mom first. I have to learn to also take that therapy hat off, because sometimes they intertwine as well.
Sure.
And I can hear my therapeutic side talking to her instead of being her mom. So it's a fine line.
Does she ever call you out? Does she ever say mom?
No, she doesn't. And she actually repeats some of the things that I say. She's saying stuff like strategic, because she was saying that when she was 3 years old.
I love your daughter.
She's like, I have a strategy. I have a strategy. She was 3. First time I heard her say that word. And I'm like, what? So they hear, they do listen to you, but you got to sit them down and be willing to just take in the information that they're giving you, even though you don't want to hear a lot of things. I mean, just think, even when we were kids, we were scared to tell our parents certain things. Right. Right. Not really even a fear out of getting in trouble, but fear of disappointment. We don't want to disappoint our parents. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think any kid does. Right. But you get to that point where it's like, okay, what is the fine line between putting your foot down and saying, absolutely no, I'm not going to let you experience this, and then allowing them to kind of experience the natural consequences of what life is about to show you.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's absolutely a fine line. What do you think are some of your common triggers for your high anxiety, high stress situations?
Doing too much. That is definitely a trigger. Putting too much on my plate. And it's still, again, back to that people pleasing thing, trying to be in too many places at one time, not giving myself a break. And like I said, I have definitely, worked on that. Again, I've been in the field of therapy for a long time. Right. And paperwork is inevitable. Sure. I'm always doing it. I'm always on the computer and so on and so forth. And I remember there was a time when me and my husband first got together, and he's in the house, and it probably had been several months passed by and that kind of thing. And he's just like, wow. He's like, you always working. And he had maybe 3 jobs at the time. I had 1, but I'm working more than he'll say, you work more than me. And I had 3 jobs. And but that was just, it's just a part of the business. And I had to learn how to kind of recognize that in myself, because when it was just me and my daughter, it was just the 2 of us. When she goes to sleep, I'm on the computer typing. So she didn't notice that I'm still doing these things. And the one thing I noticed about myself, it'll be 11 o'clock at night, and I'm still fully dressed with my shoes on. Oh, man. Not relaxed. Until he pointed it out. Wow. And you never even paid attention to it. Wow. Walk around the house, I can hear my shoes clicking on the kitchen floor. It's 11 p.m.
Why are you still fully dressed?
Right.
Wow. Honestly, so when you say that, in my head, so my computer right now is like in my living room, because my office is not ventilated very well. So it gets hot. So I was like, I got to do something. And now we sit and we watch television, or we're doing whatever. And I'll sit at the computer and I'm still going. I'm still making flyers. I'm still typing out emails, doing things. And man, one thing that I have been, there's got to be a separation. Right. And the thing is, working on, again, making that time for yourself. And this is something that, I preach to my clients, and then I'm also preaching it to myself. Like, say, for instance, Sunday comes up, right? You have, of course, your church day, your functions and so on and so forth. But then you see this 2 to 5 o'clock slot that's completely open. That is a schedule. That means don't put anything in there. Wow. Leave it empty. Leave it empty. Yes.
that is part of your agenda.
Yeah.
Self-care. If you have to write it in there, write it in there.
Write it. Please, folks, just write it in there. If you have to make yourself take some time for yourself, do that.
That's right.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. So all of that is super reflective. I didn't even really think about it. But there are many days where I go home and I'm still in my fully clothed.
That's right.
Because I know as soon as I take my shoes off, I'm not getting anything else done. I'm over then. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay. All right. So with all of those things, when you take that time, that 2 to 5 on a Sunday afternoon, what does your self-care look like?
Just my feet up and I'm not on the computer. I could just be sitting in front of the TV. You know, or like my husband's usually sitting beside me. The kids are somewhere, ghosts. They're all on their computers and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's pretty, we have big kids, so they're pretty quiet. They're all in their rooms playing video games or whatever. And, you know, me and my husband are just usually sitting on the sofa, you know, laughing about the stupidest things we see on Facebook or some type of crazy meme, you know, that kind of focuses on, I'll send something that is like so him, or he'll send something that is so me and that kind of stuff. But we usually just sitting in front of the TV.
Do you guys have like a time set for your meeting together to talk about what it is that's going on in your lives and your relationships or anything? Like, do you do like a monthly relationship meeting or a weekly relationship? We
should, but we don't. We have, like, in the past, we've both actually gotten a little bit more busier between the two of us, because now not only am I a part of the NAACP, my husband is too, right? And he's one of the board members, one of the committee members and things like that. So his schedule has increased as well, and so. Any scheduling, any specific time frame, it's kind of like, so what's on your agenda? Because he'll tell me, he's like, I don't have any plans. He works third shift, so he's home during the day. He was usually asleep or whatever. So the kids come home from schools. School's out now, whatever. So they're kind of quiet. You don't really. So he's laid out on the sofa or something like that. But like I'll look at my schedule and I will tell him, like, what's been hard is planning out. Like if you ask me something for the next day, my schedule is usually planned out already. And even though there's things that we gotta say to ourselves, we're gonna take a break, the bills gotta be paid too. Right. So it's like, gotta work and so on and so forth. But like, we're going to the movies tomorrow. Okay. I'm done at 3:00, going to the movies, whatever, just me and him. We ain't even, he's like, we inviting the kids? I'm like, no, for what? No, they'll be all right. They will be fine. We'll do something like that. And then Monday, we're actually going to take next Monday, we're actually going to take the kids to Donny Park. So we're trying to, fit certain things in. Sure. I'm the planner. He's always like, you're the planner. Like, where do you want to go? And that kind of thing. So I do put things into place in terms of us, like being together and hanging out and that kind of stuff. Or he also works at the Legacy Cigar Lounge. Right. So I'll even pop up over there just because I know he's working, and I'll be able to see him and that kind of stuff. So we do try to fit in as much as we possibly can. And it's I'm not saying definitely needs can be better or whatever, but
I think it helps that he understands that you already do so much, and he's willing to kind of fit in. Right.
Because it wasn't different before he came. I was like this before. Right. 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 So, and I'm happy to do. I love helping. I love doing things. My parents are the same way. My grandparents were the same way. Right. I don't know anything else. Right.
Well, I had to kind of explain that to Charlie when him and I got together, because I'm the same way. I like doing things. I like supporting. I like serving. I like to be busy with it. So when we first got together and I was explaining, he was like, "Oh, like you're really busy. Like you really do stuff." Yeah, it's this is who I am. Right. And he just kind of jumped right in and said, well, if you're doing it, we're doing it. And to have a partner to support you that wholeheartedly, it just gives you such a serotonin boost. Like you're just like, I can do do anything.
It does.
I watch you and your husband a lot of times, and I feel like we're kindred spirits that way, because with him by your side, man, you can conquer the world.
Yeah.
You could do whatever, whenever, however, whatever you're called to do, and you are doing it. Tell us a little bit about Better View Counseling. Tell us about them.
Okay. Well, Better View Counseling, of course, as you guys know, is a very new company. Tremaine actually started the company on his own. I don't remember the exact date, but I know he officially started in 2021 by himself. We were working together. Me and Tremaine have been working together for a number of years at the same company. He was there about 15 years. I was there about 11. In 2022, Tremaine was tired of the rat race with the company that we were working for. And one day we got an email and it stated, let's wish Tremaine, happy wishes, moving on. And I seen that email and I'm like, I text him right away. I'm like, you are not leaving me here, you know? And he messaged me back and he's like, I'll talk to you in about a week. I have a proposition for you. I didn't even care what it was.
Oh, wow.
Because I know Trey was a planner.
Right.
I've watched him move. He's watched me move and things like that. And I was so blessed for him. It was just a blessing for him to call me and say, this is what I propose, and so on and so forth. And I dove right in.
Wow.
And it was just the two of us. In September, the day after my birthday is 9/11. September 12th, I became an employee for Better View, as a supervisor there. We had about 60 or 70 clients between the two of us in September 2022.
Wow.
As of today, we have almost 1,300 clients.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And you guys have partnerships with some of the schools and everything, right?
Yes, we have 6 contracts at the school districts. Pine Forge was the very first one. I don't know if you know about Pine Forge. It's like it's a community that the students actually live on campus. It's an all-black school, all-black staff.
Really?
They found us on Psychology Today.
Really?
The guidance counselor found us, yes. They've never had therapy on their campus before because with their religion, therapy was not a thing for them.
Oh.
And the counselor said, it's time for a change.
Do you find that a lot, that the religious sector itself looks,
because
I know culturally.
Because in Black folks, you're supposed to pray.
Right.
You don't need therapy, you just pray. You need therapy as well.
Right.
We need a little bit of both,
Absolutely.
So that opened the door for the school-based thing. And then Muhlenberg, which is a school I've been at for the last 11 years at the previous company, I got in pretty good with the superintendent of Muhlenberg School District. And I told him, I said, I'm leaving. And he's like, you can't leave. And I said, how are you going to get me to stay here? He's like, what is it that we need to do? I said, I need you to get a contract in this school district with my company. 6 months later, we had it.
Wow. Congratulations. And I've watched you announce the different contracts as the schools have been coming on board with this. And I'm just like, man, please know all my prayers are going towards y'all, because these kids need this. Because like you said earlier, when we were younger, we couldn't have conversations with our parents, not necessarily because we would have been in trouble or anything, but we didn't want to disappoint them. And if they knew we were having wayward thoughts, then they would think some kind of way about us, and maybe they're not going to think about I don't know. I feel like our generation had a lot of unresolved trauma, and we didn't know that it was unresolved trauma until now. This sensitive generation is here,
and you continue to carry it, even though our kids, a lot of our kids are from the suburbs.
Right.
They don't know the streets. I'm going to tell you something real funny. Just this past weekend, because I was getting out of the car when we had the Juneteenth event.
Sure.
Getting out of the car, my daughter's with me, and we're walking down the street, and she's amazed. I said, you act like this is an adventure. This is just the city. She was like, it is.
This is Walnut Street, daughter. Walnut Street.
She's like, it is, Mom. And I just thought it was so comical, because I said, we walked all over these streets for years. Here we are, we're all the way at the mall, or I'm living on Front Street and we're walking all the way to 13th Street to school. And you can't even get the kids to go down the street because it's too hot or it's too far.
They're ordering delivery from Wawa. Are you serious? serious?
To the school.
Crazy.
To the school.
That's ridiculous.
Who orders room service? I mean, who orders delivery service to your school? You know,
we didn't have those options.
I'm telling you, they're different. They're sensitive. Their social skills are very, very. They're just not as intact as they were when we were kids. We were latchkey kids,
right? Right.
Not everybody, but we lived in that latchkey area,
right?
You know,
right.
But if we didn't have cell phones. You know, we couldn't call anybody when something was going on. You went to your neighbor's house if you were locked out, or you sat on the porch and waited till your parents came home.
Yep,
you know,
that's exactly right. And our kids. I know for sure my kids, they knew nothing of that.
Right.
Nothing of that at all. We picked them up. We drove them to practice. We put them wherever it was that they were going to go. And even now as adults, I look at them and I feel like we really did a disservice to them because we would just jump on the bus. Right. All right, I'm going to take the bus, or I'm going to walk, like you said, from 13th Street to 2nd and Buttonwood. If that's what I got to do, I missed the bus, I got to go.
Right. And it was nothing but a thing.
It's nothing but a
what
thing.
We did.
And they don't do it now even.
But at the same time, it's a scarier world too that we're living in because we're afraid to let our kids just go somewhere. Like we live up in the hill, in Muhlenberg, and I don't like my daughter to walk to the park by herself. I've only recently kind of let her, but I'm saying, who are you meeting with, and so on and so forth, because we don't have a sidewalk to walk and the cars are flying down this street until she gets to the sidewalk area. So at the same time, the one thing when we go back to thinking about stress and anxiety in our lives is so stressful to say, are our kids gonna be okay if we just let them go? But we gotta let them have that space to grow up, because we cannot, what we tend to do as parents is our anxieties stops them from doing stuff that they want to be able to do that we did when we were kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like I wish my parents would have been a little bit more anxious about letting me just go.
Right.
So we lived, I'm going to say when I was older, we lived up closer to the high school. So we lived right there at 10th and Ole streets. My grandmother still lived down on 2nd and Buttonwood. So my mom, it was no thing for her to say, all right, you got 15 minutes to get to your grandma's house. And here I am walking right up Greenwood Street, going down 6th and whatever. And there are people that are accosting, like calling out, catcalling. Hey girl, what you doing? Following me, blocks. And I was terrified. So then when I had a daughter of my own and she was like, well, Mom, I want to go to my friends. I'm driving you because I don't want you to have to deal with what it is that I dealt with. And while I gained some knowledge, some street knowledge, I was able to, juke it a little bit and nobody caught me. Thank God for that. What's to say that she wouldn't have been, and I don't know. I feel like we're more aware now.
Right.
And you're right. Our anxieties are stopping our kids.
Yes, it is.
But man, if somebody would have just had a little bit more anxiety when we were growing up, how many of our friends would have made it?
Right.
That didn't.
Right.
Like it's almost like a catch-22. Yeah. I feel like the generation that's coming through has all of this head knowledge and none of the common sense that we had to, not common sense, guys, that's the wrong word, like street knowledge that we had to have. And then we don't have that head knowledge that they had. And we're just, our generations are bumping heads. And I'm hoping that hearing from someone who works in that mental health field, hearing from women that, are trying to blend their life and their hats and their families, that the women that are listening, even the men that are listening will understand that, again, it's a communication thing. Can we talk to each other, not just us, one another, but let's talk to our kids.
Exactly.
Let's teach them the things that we wish somebody would have taught us.
Stop tiptoeing around the situation.
Absolutely.
Kids are they are more resilient than we give them credit for, but again, a lot of, we're back to, we have stifled them a lot, because we provide so much more for them than they needed. I mean, we were cooking in the kitchen at 8 and 9 years old, and we have teenagers that don't know how to boil an egg.
Oh goodness, and that's I don't even know what to say to that. That is so true.
You don't want it.
No, they don't want it. They'll call Wawa and have it delivered. Right. They don't need to. They don't need to. Everything is right at their fingertips.
Everything is given to them. You don't have to go into a library to learn anymore. It's on your phone.
Right.
You have a situation with a peer. You guys don't get along. The bullying, creates anxiety. People, you don't want to go to school anymore. We had those moments where we want to go to school.
Sure.
Most of us have been bullied before.
Sure.
But we sucked it up and we went.
We didn't have a choice.
Right. Today they do. If you don't like a class, all you got to do is have your parent write a note. Change the teacher.
If you don't like the school, just go online.
Yep.
That's it. That is it. And there's nothing wrong with online school. I wish that it would have been an option for some of us, because I can think of classmates that should have been able to do such and such. However, everything's handed to them. What are they going to do when they get into that real world?
Right. How are you going to teach your child the importance of building on their social skills when you're okay with them leaving school?
Right.
Where are they going to learn it?
They're not. Just because it's called social media doesn't mean it's social.
Activities, if you don't have them at least in activities, even though they may not fit the mold for, a brick and mortar school, some kids' anxiety and depression is so bad that being at home is better for them. I understand that. But there are times where has turned into like a cop out, and now you're creating more. You're creating more of the problem. Your child has social struggles, so you pull them out of every social activity there is. You're doing that wrong. You have to take the baby steps and kind of get them, more familiar with being more social and being around people just a little bit at a time. Not throwing them into, throwing them to the wolves or anything like that, but little activities in order to help them build on the social ability. Because, again, what is your fear? What's the worst thing that can happen? Meeting somebody new?
Those are great questions. Great questions for our parents. And folks, please, by all means, chime in. I want you to comment on all of the platforms that you are listening or watching us on, because what can you do? Let's figure out some practical steps so that you understand how you are moving your child along in this thing. You want to train your child in the way that they should go. That doesn't just mean so that they come back to church.
Right.
That's everything.
Right.
When God gave us that blueprint, he gave us that blueprint for life.
Right.
So if you're not training your child, what did you say earlier? The influence is out there. It's out there.
And you cannot get away from it.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Sure. This has been wonderful. We don't really get a whole lot of one-on-one time, so we're going to have to fix that. But I knew that you would be perfect for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me, Sheree. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we will have you back again. We're going to do like a question and answer panel in the next couple of episodes. So you'll be back. And I'm sure this won't be your last time, because we're going to be doing this forever. Right. Thank you so much for tuning into the Empress Effect, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on the Empress Effect. Today, you have been strengthened by virtue, guided by faith, and raised by grace. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for the latest updates. You can also follow all of our social media platforms to stay connected. And for exclusive Empress Effect merchandise, visit our website at theempresseffect.org. Stay encouraged on this journey, and remember, you were born for such a time as this.